Hello, this is Dr. A. Aruna Sri Lakshmi, Associate Professor of National Law University, Odisha from Cuttack. National Law University, Odisha is offering a diploma in child rights under the SWIME platform. As you are all aware, this platform facilitates all the learners to know about the rights of the child online. The significance of this course is very much relevant in the present context because child is exploited, child is neglected, child is abused, child on account of its vulnerability is unable to exercise its rights. So this course is offered in coordination with the other faculty, Miss Sohini Mahapatra. It is worthwhile to remember what is stated by Garela Mistral of Child, a poetess and a Nobel Prize winner in the context of children. She says we are guilty of many errors and many faults, but one worst crime is abandoning the children, neglecting the foundation of life. Many of the things we need can wait, the child cannot. To him, we cannot answer tomorrow, and his name is today. Hence, we realize that child is our national asset, child is our human resource, and childhood is a not negotiable, and also that child is not a commodity. Unfortunately, in the given context, all the rights of the children are violated and a need arises wherein all have to rise to the occasion to protect the rights of the children. In this context, the course goes back to introduce to the Constitution of India because the Constitution of India introduced a revolutionary provisions on the rights of the child. For example, Article 14 of the Constitution, 15 of the Constitution, wherein it talks about special provisions can be made in favor of women and children, right to life under Article 21, and right to free and compulsory education under Article 21A. The fundamental right also prohibits any kind of forced labor or beggar, and 24 specifically talks about children below 14 years cannot be engaged in any kind of hazardous employment. And similarly, we also find under the directive principles of state policy, particularly Article 39E and F, where the tender age cannot be abused is said. Similarly, childhood and youth are not to be exploited or abandoned in any form. So these two mandates under the fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy try to focus on the rights of every person, wherein the liberty, the dignity, the livelihood, non discrimination, freedom, compulsory and free education, and prohibition of employment we find under the Constitution. It is also relevant in this context to understand that the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child was passed in 1989, and subsequently India has proved its commitment to it. The main dimensions of this Convention on the Rights of the Child include basically on four important rights. One is the survival, wherein right to life before birth, after birth is to be provided. The second is right to protection, wherein the child shall be allowed, given the freedom from all forms of exploitation. 3. The development, wherein right to education forms a very important core ideal to develop the child. 4 is the participation, the respect to the views of the child must be given due importance. So, on basis of this, it has certain fundamental principles wherein right from the Rights of the Child Convention on the Rights of the Child, later to the Declaration of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, subsequently the UNCRC and many other conventions where focus upon the non-discrimination, the survival and development of the child, the best interest of the child, and the freedom of speech and expression require to be taken into consideration always. In line with the same, we find that the legislation has been passed with respect to all these areas where children are abused, children are neglected, children are sexually exploited, children who face certain difficult circumstances, children who are in conflict of law. In accordance with the same, we find many legislations like the Child Labor Prohibition Act was passed. Now recently we have the 2016 Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act of 2016. Prior to that, where the children were used as bonded laborers. And also we have the Juvenile Justice Act, which is passed. In all POXO Act, which was passed in 2012, all these legislations focus on protecting the children. Therefore, the world's future depends upon the practical concerns shown for the worth and growth of the child, its environment and opportunities, the full and the harmonious development of children. Hence, the course is intended to empower with the contemporary developments on children issues globally, nationally, and regionally. The National Law University Odisha has a specialized research center on child rights, wherein it has been working incessantly for the cause of these children, trying to move from policy to practice. The course is intended to empower these contemporary developments. Considering the situations in which a child is placed, the Diploma in Child Rights is offered by the National Law University Odisha through the SWAYAM platform, and the course structure includes child and development, wherein the distinction is made with regard to the birth of a child into the family, and many other aspects are dealt here. Then another course, it deals with the child rights advocacy. It also includes a legal and policy framework for survival and development of children. It focuses on the evolution and development of juvenile justice system. It also discusses about the children in difficult circumstances, and also the liberty and safety of children. As we have understood in the beginning, that it is not one person's contribution, but protection of children requires a multidisciplinary approach and multi-stakeholder involvement in different layers from policy to practice. To strengthen the human resource in the child rights is one of our objectives, and hence who can be the parties to it is very clear. Any person, he can be a student, a paralegal, a professional, an advocate, or the advocacy groups, grassroots workers, academicians, and NGOs. And hence, we welcome you all to take part in this course to understand and realize the rights of the children and work for the cause of children. Thank you.